What is good, y'all? Kip up here, and here we are for a Week 7 replay in the MLP. I am the coach of the Orlando Magikarp, and we went up against the Georgia Granbulls. And this is my team that I brought. Now, he did bring a bulky Hippowdon. I'm not sure what the Heatran was. I guess kind of bulky. He brought Primarina for offense, Raichu for offense, Espeon for offense, and this for rocking. I'm not really going to go into detail about their sets because you guys will see those sets as the battle goes on. Meanwhile, I did bring Spidef-Mega Scizor, and I did make it lime green this time because I think that looks awesome. I did bring a Scarf Buzzwole with Leech Life, Poison Jab, Ice Punch, and I think Earthquake as well. Because, I mean, look at those, think about those 4 moves, right? Ice Punch, Leech Life, Poison Jab, Earthquake. Or not Earthquake, Superpower. There we are, Superpower. Now look at his team. Now look back at Buzzwole. Because that thing 6-0s if I give it, like, the right situation. So that's why I brought it. I also brought Trick Room Malamar. Because beyond the Hippowdon, if I just set up a Trick Room, I outspeed everything. And I basically sweep. I brought Togekiss because it is a very reliable defogger, and I love Air Slash, obviously. Excuse me. Something I've really liked toward the end of this year so far. I never really used Togekiss like competitively, but this thing is really proving its worth right now. Next up, we do have defensive Rock Swampert, a Pokemon I got off free agency for Chandelure. I just want to try it out here, and I thought, considering it's defensive, it could take on a lot of his other threats that I didn't happen to bring. But, I mean, yet again, look at his team. Earthquake, Ice Punch, Scald, and Stealth Rock. Look at what that does to his team, though. Like, seriously, it really takes him on. And then lastly, we do have Choice Scarf Victini. Brought only to just murder everything in sight. Really, really dense his team with the exception of the Hippowdon. And the Hippowdon's very pesky for my team, so the goal was to knock it out as soon as possible. But let's begin the battle here. Alright, so I led off with my Garchomp, obviously, to get Brox, as he leads the Gabite. Now, I didn't expect him to bring the Gabite. I did not at all expect him to bring the Gabite. But with Ice Beam, I knew, if he did bring it, that thing's going bye-bye very quickly. So I did just Ice Beam here for damage. Loses 87%. Now, at this point, I just realized if he switched out or not, rocks were fine, so I just went with rocks. Now, I think he thought I was going to switch out, but I just stayed in and went for Earthquake because this thing can't take a lot of hits. So I just stayed in. And honestly, I didn't think Swampert was all that important, so I just stayed in and kept clicking Earthquake. So at this point, the Primarina can't take another, so he switches out into his pesky Hippowdon. I did have the liberty to predict here and use Scald, but I did not. And I feel like that would have been really important, but I just didn't do it. But at the same time, as he switches out into his Gabite to Sack, this early in the game, I don't feel like it's smart at all to predict. Because yet again, it's just early in the game. You don't want to tip your hand or be overzealous like I was in my last game, because that changes everything if you mess up. So I should have predicted the Hippowdon probably, but at the same time, I'm fine with not. Like, I see that play as totally justifiable and totally correct in that context. But anyway, he just sacks off his Gabite. So Swampert get his first kill of the year since joining the team. It took place of Chandelure, by the way, which only had 1 kill in its time. Now at this point, he goes Raichu, and I knew this thing gets Grass Knot, so I went hard in a Lemon Bug. Yet again, as I said, this early in the game, you don't really predict much. So I knew he would go for Grass Knot and not Thunderbolt, so he does go for the Grass Knot here. Not a big deal. I took basically 0. And at this point, I think he realized I was Spidef. So he does switch out into his Heatran, which I can't really do anything to. I just U-turned for the switch initiative, obviously. And I went directly into Buzzwole. Buzzwole Oko's this thing with a superpower, which is what I use. But unfortunately, he does have a Chople Berry. So he just gets a revenge kill, which is very unfortunate. So I lost my win con within the first 10 turns of the game. But that's not all, because I go I go Swampert without expecting HP Grass, get nailed with an HP Grass, and I've lost a third of my team in 10 turns. So that was very unfortunate for me. But Victini has come in and Revenge Kill. So I was perfectly fine by that. At this point, he goes back into his Hippowdon. I think he might have expected that I was choice. So I just went directly into Lemon Bug because it took any hit. And he just slacked off the little bit of damage he took from Swampert. I go for Wing Attack, and let me just say, this is a terrible play on my end. I don't know why, but I thought, hey, Wing Attack would be just great on a Hippowdon Technician. Yay. When really, honestly, a Stab Technician boosted Bullet Punch would have done a lot more. Now, the reason I did have Wing Attack, that wasn't me just being stupid. He does have Mega Heracross in the back, so I prepared for that specifically with Lemon Bug. But going for Wing Attack for whatever reason, I can't justify that in any way. So that's totally on me as he Whirlwinds, and I get dragged down to Victini. Very unfortunate for me because it's just slowly taking damage because of Sandstorm and Rocks. So I go directly to Togekiss, expecting him to Earthquake. He could have Stone Edge as well if he did have Stone Edge, and that would have just ended me. However, he did not. At this point, I just want to Air Slash for damage, so I'm going to speed this up a little bit. I just wanted to Air Slash for damage and see if I can, flinch it to death, because once it died, I just won. I actually just won. But that is not in the cards, because as I continue to do this, he breaks through. If I got that flinch, he would have lost his Hippowdon, and I probably won with Malamar. So that's very unfortunate for me, but he just Whirlwinds after really slowing down my Togekiss, and this is where things are terrible. Now, this is another terrible play on my end, and let me explain why. What was I going to say? Malamar's min speed is very close to Hippowdon's max speed, and for whatever reason, I thought setting up Trick Room was the smartest idea. Now, while I do knock off his leftovers in the very next turn, as I'll show here, he is now faster than me, so he can recover anything he wants, and he can just knock out Malamar. So this is a horrible play on my end, sacking another one of my win cons. I can't justify that play whatsoever. It was that bad in my opinion. Yeah, so he just kills me, and the unfortunate part that I don't even realize is that there's one more turn of Trick Room. So he just slacks off here, so it's as if I just threw away Malamar. However, I can roost myself, so I do get back up to 76%, and the Air Slash games begin again. Now I'm going to speed this up again because this is all I do as I sack off Togekiss, unfortunately. I keep going, and I keep getting flinches, which is very nice. But it seemed like every time I seriously needed a flinch, like right there, I didn't get it. So at this point, I'm thinking Togekiss doesn't do anything. Like, it outspeeds the Hippowdon and it outspeeds Primarina, and that's it. So he goes Raichu. I should have clicked Aura Sphere here. I had Aura Sphere for the Heatran. But Aura Sphere would have done more than that, which is very unfortunate for me. But I can now go Lemon Bug as he Volt Switches. It goes back into the pesky Hippowdon. And guess what I do, guys? I Wing Attack because I'm an idiot. And I don't know what came over me for, like, from turn 10 up to literally right now. I feel like after losing my Swampert and my Buzzwole in consecutive turns, I just got mad and stopped thinking. So for God knows why, I clicked Wing Attack as opposed to Bullet Punch. I can't explain the play, especially because Raichu resists both Bullet Punch and the Wing Attack, but Bullet Punch would have done more. I can't tell you why. Yet again, I can tell you why that Wing Attack is, in the moveset, but I can't tell you why I made that bad of a play. Anyway, at this point, I do Bullet Punch, realizing that I'm an idiot, and he just slacks it off again. And I try again, and he slacks off. And at this point, I realize this isn't going to go too well, so I just Roost, and he Earthquakes. So I'm looking at that damage, I'm like, that's actually really manageable. So I just Bullet Punch again, and he Whirlwinds. And now Victini can't come back out. I feel like he misplayed slightly here by leaving his Hippowdon in on a Grass Knot. I feel like he probably should have gone Primarina and sacked it off just to scout. But of course, I also made a scouting decision, so a bad scouting decision, so I can't really say much. So anyway, he does kill Victini, and that was just terrible. However, he makes a horrible play here, and that's totally not on him. While the play is on him, he played so well for the other 34 turns that, I mean, this is just almost a bad break. I feel like he just didn't think this through, and that's what messed him up. He probably assumed that I would roost here, but considering that Hippowdon could have gone down instantly on a crit or on a high roll, I thought I should just go for Bullet Punch. Now, unfortunately for him, and this is why it was such a bad play, Espeon was the only thing that could really knock me out. His Hippowdon wasn't doing enough damage. Primarina died to a Bullet Punch. And Espeon for sure had Z Celebrate and HP Fire. Without even boosting his HP Fire, he had a roll to knock me out from full. He for sure knocks me out from right there. So he basically sacked his win con, which was really unfortunate for him. And I can't fault him because I made such stupid plays and he played so well. I can't really hold this against him. But he does sack his Espeon. Now he does switch out, but he did basically sack it. So now his Primarina comes in and does die to the Bullet Punch, as I said. He now goes Hippowdon. That obviously dies as well to a Bullet Punch. And what it all comes down to at this point is Raichu. The reason it comes down to Raichu is because I didn't see Life Orb. I didn't see Leftovers. So he could be, in my mind, he is Specs. In my mind, I'm just assuming he is Specs because this thing is so fast. So I was going through calcs. I was doing calcs like crazy. And I put in my specific set for Scizor. And I realized that with Specs, he has a pretty good chance of knocking me out. Now, the roll was like, I think it was like 50-50. But 50-50 is enough to be a good chance, obviously. So thinking about that and thinking about the possibility of him critting if, you know, the original roll wasn't enough to knock me out, I think forget it, I do have to attack this thing. So I do go for the Bullet Punch, and he goes down to 2%, man, 2%. And he T-bolts, and he turns out to not be Specs. So his own Sandstorm does him in. If it didn't do him in, obviously my Bullet Punch came in and knocked him out. But that was such a close game, and if he was Specs or Life Orb, I lost. So while he did sack his win con, and that was his only real misplay of the game, I did come out winning. So good game to Josh and the Georgia Granbulls. Very happy I won. I did play very bad in my opinion, but yet again, so happy I won. I'm now 4-3 after this game. This game was recorded like 2 weeks ago, or not recorded, but played like 2 weeks ago. So I'm so sorry for not bringing it. But I mean, new computer, new microphone. I got a live out. I got APL out. I mean, I'm pretty happy. So good game to him. We are playing the Aberdeen Azelfs for Week 8. We are also the 4th seed in our conference, and the 4th seed means that we do make the playoffs as long as we continue to play remotely well, which I'm quite honestly planning to do. The goal is to go 7-4, so that's to run the table and hopefully win the championship. So thank you guys very much for watching. I will bring more MLP content as soon as I battle, which will be in a couple days. I'll also be bringing more lives, and I will be bringing APL. Thank you guys so much for watching. Good game to Josh, and I will talk to you guys soon.